We're talking about the search for Nancy Guthrie. Now you have people in the community who are actually searching for her, and they're saying, okay, we're going to step in and help as well.
We have so many memes. This story has garnered attention from everyone.
Yes.
I think that you and I were talking about, we'll walk into the grocery store and people will come up to us and say, what do you know? Mm-hmm. You walked into the hair salon and people ask, what do you know? We have seen memes on social media of people saying, getting in their car saying, I'm going to go find Nancy. People want answers, not just the family. Mm-hmm. And so what is happening is we have volunteer groups who are just going out in the desert around 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's house and searching.
Yeah. And if you've ever looked like on Google Maps at this part of northeast Tucson, it's called the Catalina Foothills. You have these larger properties, usually about half an acre to an acre, and you have a lot of desert landscapes surrounding these homes, and they go all the way up to the mountains. Some of them have really gorgeous views of Tucson, but it's a large community. It's been there for a number of decades, many, many years. And so you have people who are now stepping in because the search for her now enters the fourth week. And we even saw, and this is a video that you're looking at, people kind of poking around her front yard. And it has been very frustrating, I think, for a lot of people. We do have this morning Jennifer Coffindaffer. She's a retired FBI special agent and former SWAT member with extensive experience in violent crime and high-risk operations. Jen, good morning, and we're so glad you're with us. Thank you for joining us.
What do you think about these volunteers heading out? The Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is saying, please don't do this. Let us handle the investigation. We're working as hard as we can.
I've always been very supportive of the community when they want to go out and help. I think it's the right thing to do. But this is what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing some volunteers that could help better if they just had a little bit of guidance. In other words, wear those gloves. Don't pick anything up you think might be important. Make sure to leave it there until law enforcement comes. And you would think that Mr. Nanos and the others would possibly lend their experience to just have the group come together and give them some guidance. Also, they need to be told, hey, listen, if you're going to search this part, let us know so other groups don't research that part. So it just seems like it could use some leadership from Nanos instead of saying, don't go.
Are there times in history where groups like this have found something that could eventually find the person who's missing? Or is it part of just, I guess, a therapeutic effect where the community is able to come together and do something that they feel may help?
What a great question. I can think of two cases right off the top. Kylie Rodney, law enforcement said they could not find her, and a private search group ended up finding her within about 15 minutes of the law enforcement search being abandoned. And Rachel Morin, who you might be familiar with, also who was found after law enforcement had stopped their search. So this is, and there's a whole list, but yes, private searchers have often been able to help.
Why is it that perhaps in any situation, the law enforcement agency would say that they don't want help from private searchers?
Well, it's something unique to see, to be quite honest. Normally, law enforcement, and I can tell you in my years with the FBI, we welcome that once a particular area had been cleared by us, if you will. You never know what a private searcher might find that was possibly missed. The more eyes, the better. That's my view.
In some of the work that you've done, in terms of being a former FBI agent, when you look at how the case is being handled, there's a lot of things they can't tell us, right? I mean, I know that the public, and in this day and age where we all want information now, we can get it online whenever we want. But with these type of investigations, there are some things they really can't tell us because they're still working the case. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. If I had to do a ratio, I would say it 90 to 10. In other words, the public, if maybe know 10%. Law enforcement knows so much more. What they have released is strictly what will help them. And that was that video of who I'm calling Porch Guy. Porch Guy is important because somebody knows him, somebody recognizes him. I still believe that. And the pot's at 300,000, and maybe somebody come forward and say who this is to law enforcement.
With your experience, we are looking at 23 days missing. She was last seen the evening, January 31st. 23 days, about 4 weeks, very extensive, exhaustive searches. Do you think she will be found? Where do you see this going?
Well, as each day goes by, it becomes less and less possible that she will be found. But I do think they will find the perpetrator or perpetrators, and I really think more than one is involved that's responsible for this horrendous crime. And when they find them, I think it's possible they will tell what happened to Nancy and where she is.
You know, in your experience, when you look at some of these cases, being 84 years old, does it tend to be someone that maybe knows her, knows of her, or is it very rare that it would be, a stranger who just happens to walk into her home, happens to be a home intruder, generally speaking, if you can?
Well, in this case, I believe this perpetrator did know her or was familiar with her or Savannah. It's just too pointed. The time of night, burglars don't strike at that time of night. They like to strike in the day when people aren't home. In addition, he was completely rigged out from head to toe to hide his identity. In addition, there was no ransom demand that was made that was legitimate. In addition, when he went up to that porch, he beelined to that particular camera, which makes me think he had a familiarity. All of those factors make me think that this was targeted and somebody who knew them in some degree.
I have a lot of people approaching me and asking me about that surveillance video. They have a lot of questions, saying that they thought it was odd that this person would walk up to that camera the way they did, because 99.9% of people have doorbell cameras, and also seemed fairly unprepared, had to turn around and grab some plants kind of willy-nilly to cover the camera. The way the weapon was, and those gloves being big and bulky, you can't even grab that weapon with the gloves.
You point out so many great points about this person. They are not in a hurry. They don't seem to be worried about being caught in any way, shape, or form. Grabbing that foliage like he did, I've never seen anything like that. Why couldn't he have just used his hand? So, that piece really is bothersome. In other words, why would he ever pick that? And then if you look, it looks like he doesn't drop it all, like he might even take it into the house, which I found very interesting. You can also make out a pinky ring on his finger, which I think is going to be very important for law enforcement. His eyebrows that are trimmed so tight like that. I really believe somebody would recognize him as a parent or a girlfriend.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for your time this morning. Jen Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent and former SWAT member with extensive experience in violent crime and high-risk operations. I know you're a private consultant as well, so we appreciate your time and your insight on this case, and we look forward to calling on you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.